First of all, let me thank Dr. Neeru Bhushan for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. It's not very often that I get to talk to people in the agriculture sector. I work on innovation and entrepreneurship. Last 30 years I have worked on this, and I have seen a lot of young entrepreneurs succeed, fail, do well, not do so well. Let me start with my own story. About 30 years back, I was studying in IIM Ahmedabad, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur, like all of you want to be an entrepreneur. So I had applied for loan, it was sanctioned. I had applied for an industrial shed, which was given to me, and I was to graduate and start my own enterprise. And one day, one of my professors at IMA, Professor Gupta, he said, Mittal, you want to be an entrepreneur. There's this new institute which has come up, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, and they are organizing a workshop like this. So why don't you go and attend? Please. So I went to that workshop, and I attended that workshop, and there was one speaker there, Professor Dr. H.C. Rawal. And I was very impressed with the knowledge this fellow had about small scale industry. I said, if I work with this gentleman for 2 years, I will get all the knowledge about small scale industry, and then nobody will be able to beat me in small scale industry. Well, friends, that was the end of my entrepreneurial dreams. I today have all the knowledge about small scale industry, I have all the knowledge about entrepreneurship, but I could not start an enterprise. Why I could not start an enterprise was, I gave more stress on knowledge than action. Hindsight, now I can say that there was some fear of failure also. I was young, I had no experience, I thought let me gain some experience, that was one part. But the basic reason is that don't get enamored by knowledge. To learn swimming, you have to jump in the pool. You can't read books and learn swimming. You cannot learn swimming by correspondence. You have to jump in the pool to learn swimming. So that is the first message I want to give you, is that action is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is important. I am not saying that you keep the knowledge completely aside, but if you have to start, the day is now, today. Start that action, start that step. As you age, you come to know of more things and how they cannot be done. If today you ask me, I should be given a doctorate on telling you things what cannot be done. As you age, you come to know more things what cannot be done. In younger age, you don't know what cannot be done. So you will try for everything. And entrepreneurship is basically, essence is to try and do everything. Let me first try and define the innovations in agriculture sector. Agriculture is like air. Agriculture to me is like air. You feel, it is felt by its absence. When there is no air, you will suddenly gasp. You will feel that there is no air. Otherwise, you don't even acknowledge air. You never acknowledge air. You just feel that it is there, natural. Similar is the case with agriculture. You are getting your food, you are getting your other things which are dependent on agriculture. You don't realize that the importance of agriculture. You remember 3-4 years back, there was a food crisis. You remember there was a food crisis? Immediately, all the attention was focused on agriculture. It is something which is, when it goes missing, you realize it. आपको एक time खाना नहीं मिलता है, you feel uncomfortable. Now, if you don't get it for 2 times, you still feel more uncomfortable. And if a day passes, then next day you will kill somebody for food. If not a day, maybe 2. So the importance of this sector is immense. The only thing is, since we are all getting food, we don't realize it. And there are lesser innovations which have happened in this sector because this is not a glamorous sector. यहाँ आपको हाथ से काम करना पड़ता है. You have to work with your own hands, work in tough conditions, so it is not that a glamorous sector. I am a dairy technologist by training. About 30 years back, I was trained as a dairy technologist, but I moved away from dairy. If you ask me, I don't even know D of dairying today. I work on innovation and entrepreneurship space. But the journey has been very rewarding. I have seen people grow their industries, youngsters, done remarkable jobs. My examples may not be of agriculture, but I would like to share with you how this is historically developed. What we have done is, in the past 60 years, we have done various kinds of instruments have been used for development of the country. This may not be of direct relevance to you, but still I would like to share this with you. We tried the public sector approach first. Let's promote public sector enterprises, create employment, create this thing. Large number of public sector enterprises were promoted, whether it is HMT, whether it is BHEL, all those public sector enterprises were promoted. Then came the era of subsidy model, which still continues partly, where we want to subsidize people, subsidize the agriculture, subsidize the other facilities, whether it is cooking gas or that was the second era which came, which again is not viable in the long term. Then we talked about rural development. Rural development was a big fad about 2 decades back. Everything concentrated on. So today what we have done is, today we have innovation and entrepreneurship. Today we have, you heard the Prime Minister say on 15th of August, startups. That's essentially entrepreneurship. Now let me, for the clarity's sake, tell you what is the difference between a startup and a small enterprise, SME. Startup essentially is a high growth SME, which has potential to exponentially grow. आज 5 एम्प्लॉय हैं, कल 20 हैं, मतलब परसों 100 हैं, 500 हैं. This is the proportion in which it grows. The revenues, अगर आज 10 लाख हैं, अगले साल 1 करोड़ हैं, 10 करोड़, 100 करोड़, 1000 करोड़. This is the typical differentiation between a startup and a MSME. MSME will grow 10-20% every year. इस साल अगर 10 लाख है, अगले साल 12 लाख, 20 लाख, 25 लाख. That's the growth of a MSME. Now let's look at little bit of history again, the perspective which I wanted to give you. The country got liberalization in 1991. It was economic liberalization which was done in 1991. Before that, there was no culture of promoting a routine enterprise, leave aside it was very difficult to promote a routine enterprise also, and leave aside the innovative enterprises. What used to happen was that everything was controlled, and the MSME growth also was controlled because the opportunities were less. Now, you had some reservation in terms of there were 800 odd items which are reserved for manufacture in small scale industry. And 91, when the economy liberalized, the impact of which was felt around 1995. New enterprises started coming in. If you recall, there was a problem of Y2K. Y2K, when the century was turning, the computers were programmed only for 1999. That's the 1999 was the year till which, and everybody thought as the clock will hit 2000, everything will stop. You are aware of that problem, Y2K? Okay. So hordes of Indian IT professionals went to US, went to EU for solving that alleged Y2K problem. When they went there, they realized that this problem, whatsoever it was there, it was fixed, and that is the first time when the world's confidence in India's ability to deliver was established. World's confidence in India's ability to deliver was established during that period. Before that, we were thought of a nation of 1 billion stomachs and 2 billion hands. We never realized that we also have 1 billion brains. It is at that point of time India's confidence in its own abilities to deliver was also established कि हम भी कर सकते हैं. Then there were hordes of these IT knowledge workers, knowledge entrepreneurs who came to India to start their enterprises. See, starting an enterprise in the IT sector is relatively easy because if you have a laptop, you can start. You don't need, you need maybe an internet connection and you can start. In other cases, whether it is biotechnology, whether it is agriculture, whether it is manufacturing, you need additional facilities, you need additional capital, you need additional resources, and it takes time. It takes time. Your first sale will come only after you have established the enterprise, have done the marketing, then only the revenues will come. In case of an IT entrepreneur, it is much easier, quicker. That's the so, and on top of it, culturally we are very close to these white collar jobs. हमारे यहाँ we think that if I am doing a white collar job, I am doing a great job. So culturally also that fitted very well in the Indian system. Today, the IT industry has exports worth, I think if my figure is correct, about $60 billion. Is a sector which zoomed. Then let me give you some statistics. Today there are close to about 200 incubators, BPD units across the country, all put together, out of which we have supported 90 of them, 90, and we have supported only I think 2 in agriculture, 2 or 3 in agriculture. One is at ICRISAT in Hyderabad, the other one is NDRI in Karnal, and there is a third one in Bagalkot in Karnataka. These are the 3 units in agriculture which we have supported. Amazing innovations have come out of these incubators. We call them technology business incubators, in short TBIs. One of the noteworthy example which I would like to give you is a fellow in ICRISAT incubator who created edible cutlery. Edible cutlery. A churi kanta jo hai aapka, first you have your food and then you can eat that cutlery also, which is quite nutritious. So that was one which came out of that. Of course, they had large seed companies. They had one was producing alcohol from sweet sorghum, and these are the kind of enterprises which they started. In NDRI, they had several innovations in the dairying sector, but somehow that unit got into a problem because of the incubator manager left, or so let's not get into those details. I have had a chance to work with Israel on the agricultural technologies. Israel is one of the best examples of a resource scarce nation, and that is why they will have to innovate very, very heavily, whether it is irrigation, whether it is plant variety. One day when we were there was this gentleman, one scientist in the lab, he said, unless I produce $1 million seeds in this bag, this small 1 kg bag, unless I produce that value, I am not doing justice to the land which is available to me and the cost of water which is available to me. So, he showed us a packet. The price of that seed was $1 million. $1 million is the price of that seed which he's created. If you look at their produce, the brinjals are almost 3 kgs, 2 kg, 3 kg kind of a one brinjal which they produce. The water requirement is much less because 1 cubic meter of water costs $100. So, the innovations in these sectors are governed by how critical is the need and how difficult is the resource to get. Let me now turn to the demographic dividend which the country has. We all know that we are a young nation. This advantage is available to us for the next 30 years. 30 years is the time in which we will have to become a developed nation, or we would remain where we are, and the problem then would be even more, because then we will have a aging population and we will not be developed. Today Europe, entire Europe, even China, they are aging. They already have a substantial aged population. So, do not think what this BPO and this services which are coming to India, they are doing a charity to give it to India. This is a compulsion they have. This is a compulsion they have. They can't do that within their premises. So, they have to now turn to India and other Philippines and other countries like us who have a younger profile. It is not easy for any individual who is working on those BPOs or back office operations to take that brunt of the whatever bad temper that individual is in. See, consider when you have a problem with your credit card, you do not call up the BPO or the service center to tell them that you have done a good job, I enjoyed using your card. Nobody does that. That's a routine. But if there is a problem, you start shouting at that fellow, and he is a youngster, maybe 22 to 30 years of age, and in that age, imagine the kind of restraint this individual will have to have on himself. It is none of his fault. If the ATM did not work, he was not responsible for it, but he is bearing that brunt. The other fellow is shouting, and this fellow is, no sir, please sir. So, it does take its impact. But despite that, there are very innovative entrepreneurs who have come up. Let me give you a story. Let me give you a story of a very young entrepreneur. Do you know the youngest CEO of the world happened to be an Indian? Do you know the name? Do you know the name? No? Suhas Gopinath. Suhas Gopinath. You can Google this name. He was 13 years of age when he started his company. His father gave him a laptop, and he wanted to start a business. His father was not a businessman, he was a scientist in one of the labs, and he gave him a laptop. Suhas today is about 26, 27 years of age. So, when he gave him a laptop, Suhas wanted to set up a portal, a website of his own. So, for that he needed internet connectivity, and he also required a place where this portal could be hosted, a server where this could be hosted. So, he found out that for the internet connection, he will have to approach a local cyber cafe. Those days it was 30 rupees per half an hour, 20-30 रुपये half an hour के लगते थे, where you can go to the internet. His pocket money was 125 rupees per month. ₹125 एक महीने के मिलते थे. And he said, I had decided that I will not bother my father with the additional burden of setting up the business. This I will have to do on my own. So he went to a cyber cafe near his house, which used to remain closed between 11 o'clock in the night to 6 o'clock in the morning. रात 11 बजे से सुबह 6 बजे तक वो बंद रहता था. So he approached the cyber cafe owner and said that I will keep your cyber cafe open between 11 o'clock in the night to 6 o'clock in the morning, and I will not charge you any salary. Just give me the free internet time. The internet time which I use during that period is my salary. So he said, well, I can consider. So it took 2-3 meetings with him. So finally he said the idea clicked when I told him, you will advertise your cyber cafe as 24/7 cyber cafe. Any time you can come over. So this idea, he said, clicked. So he agreed. So he started developing his portal, or he required that space on the server, which used to cost $80 per annum. इंडिया में सर्वर्स नहीं थे, मतलब दिस इज द सर्वर्स वर ओनली अवेलेबल इन द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. सो ही रोट टू दिस कंपनी इन द यूएस सेइंग दैट आई एम अ स्टूडेंट, कैन यू वेव ऑफ दीज चार्जेस फॉर मी, $80. He sent an email. The company replied back saying that we will, right now it is waived off, but we will take a review after 6 months. We will take a decision after 6 months whether this free will continue or not. So, well, he developed his portal in those 6 months. 6 months later, a mail comes from this company in United States. Dear Suhas, your ticket to come to America is enclosed. You plan to be here with us for a week. We will take care of your all the to and fro expenses and stay and everything. So he was very surprised to get this mail. He said, why they are calling me? So in any case, he was keen to go to America. He went to America. Suhas is about 14 years of age. When he went there, the company offered him that you do your studies, you do your graduation, you do your post-graduation, doctorate, postdoc, the entire expenditure is on us. This apartment where you are staying, a 3-bedroom house, is yours for life. So Suhas asked them, what do I need to do in return? He said, give us this portal which you have developed. Suhas, even today, I meet him very regularly. So he said that offer was very tempting, that all your study, expenditure, everything taken care of. But somehow I felt that this portal is like my baby, and you don't sell off your babies. I was so attached to that portal. So he came out of that meeting. Today, the valuation of Suhas is about $400 million. His company is valued at $400 million. He has 800 employees, out of which 600 are based in US, 600 are based in Silicon Valley, US, 200 of them in Bangalore. The reason 600 of them are in Silicon Valley is that Suhas was not allowed to register his company in India because he was a minor. A minor in the Indian context cannot register a company. So then finally, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was then the president of the country, he intervened. He supported Suhas to set up a company in India. Suhas was a student of engineering at MS Ramaiah College in Bangalore. He could not complete his studies. He, I think, left in the final year of engineering. He could not complete his BTech because the industry grew so much. His demand on the demand on time was so much that he could not complete his degree. Some very interesting incidents. I am particularly witness to some of those very interesting incidents. He now promotes entrepreneurship amongst young students. So one day, Suhas and I, we were both speaking at an event in Hyderabad. So I suddenly saw that Suhas was unmarried at that point of time. There were about 500 girls who came to that auditorium to listen to Suhas. The moment Suhas finished his lecture, all these 500 girls walked off. And then it was my turn, and I was left with all that old faculty sitting in the room. And next time when we were in an event together, so I was jokingly telling Suhas that, Suhas, today I will speak before you, and then only, in any case, this is on the lighter side. Suhas was invited to the European Union Parliament to give the address to the European Union Parliament as the youngest CEO of the world. 10:30 was the appointed time. 10:30 was the appointed time, and suddenly they found that 10:30 Suhas is not there, 10:35, 10:40, and the entire parliament is waiting for Suhas. So then finally, after about 15-20 minutes, they went to the gate. The security was not allowing Suhas, saying that children are not allowed inside the parliament. For children, there is a play area, you go and play there, you won't be allowed inside. When he was a student at MS Ramaiah College, he would go to the teacher to ask for some extra attendance, because he would be busy with his business. So the Suhas will give his request for extra attendance, and at the same time the teacher would give him the biodata, saying that, is there an opening in your company. So that was the kind of relationship which Suhas. Today, of course, he is doing very well. He is. We were together on the World Economic Forum. He was representing the younger side. I was representing the elder side of the council on entrepreneurship, and that's an amazing story about Suhas Gopinath. Yes, please. Global Inc. Global Inc. is Global Incorporated. So that's the name of the company. Let me give you an example which is more closer to agriculture. This company was promoted by this Subramani. Subramani was a student at Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. He was a biotechnologist. And what he created was, he created artificial flowers made out of paper. Artificial flowers made out of paper which felt and smelt like real flowers. When you touch that flower, it gives you that wet feeling. Although it is made of paper, but it gives you that wet feeling, wet cold feeling when you touch the petal of the flower. This was through a hygroscopic enzyme which would absorb moisture from the air. The paper was coated with that, and it will absorb moisture from the air. Using a nanotech spray, the fragrance would last for close to 2 to 3 years, depending upon the ambient conditions. At minimum 2 years, maximum 3 years, the fragrance would last. Now you have natural looking flowers on your table which you don't need to replace for 3 years. So he developed this product. He was a winner in one of our competitions. We sent him to UC Berkeley for the global competition. When he landed at UC Berkeley, at Stanford, when he landed at the airport, he was carrying a bunch of flowers. He was carrying a bunch of flowers like this, about 30-40 of those flowers, and he is passing through the quaternine and the customs. So suddenly he hears a voice, "Hey, young man, where are you going?" He turned back. He said, "I have this competition. This is the letter. This." So he said, No, I am not talking about. Don't you know that you can't carry natural flowers, plant material, meat products inside US? So he said, but these are artificial flowers. Said, come on, man, they are looking like real flowers. They are smelling like real flowers. You come aside. You come aside. He was taken aside. So he kept on saying that these are artificial flowers. They will not believe it because they are looking like real flowers. They are smelling like real flowers. So then finally they agreed to call the botanist. After 3 hours, they gave him a certificate. They gave him a certificate saying that these are artificial flowers. Then everybody was very happy. They all posed for a photograph with the flowers. And so in the evening, what Suhas did was, not Suhas, Subramani. What Subramani did was, he went to a florist to pick up a similar looking flower, so that he could confuse the jury the next day. So he is holding one flower in his one hand and trying to match the flower. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, the florist got irritated. Come on man, you want one flower? I am sorry. Just a minute. Hello? Hello? Yes? Yeah, speaking. Yes, Mehta ji. एजेंडा पेपर नहीं मिले, कोई बात नहीं, आप मेरे को भिजवा देना. मैं अभी किसी मीटिंग में हूँ, तो आप मेरे ऑफिस में भिजवा देना. ठीक है, ओके. सॉरी. So he was looking for a similar flower, and the florist got a little irritated. He said, come on man, you pick up a flower and go, why are you? He said, no, this is an artificial flower and I want a similar looking flower. The florist also was impressed. Since he was in the business, he could recognize that this is an artificial flower. He said, how many of these you are carrying? He said, why are you asking? No, I want to give an order. So he said, right now I have only 30-40 of them. So he said, what is the price? He said, $10 per piece. His cost of manufacture was about $3. So he said, I can I can supply you as much as you want, but not right now. You will have to give me an order. So he gave him an order for 10,000 flowers, $10 a piece, $1 lakh. He wrote a check and gave it to Suhas. He took the order. Next day was the business plan competition where he was to participate. Suhas presented just 4 slides. Subramani. Subramani presented just 4 slides. Subramani presented just 4 slides. The first slide was that certificate from the Quarter 9 authorities that these are artificial flowers. Second was that photograph which he had. Third one was the order which he had got for 10,000 flowers. And fourth one was the copy of that check which he had received from that individual. Needless to say, Subramani was a winner in that contest. He was a winner in that contest. He won the prize. But the story doesn't end here. Story starts from here. Where are these flowers made? These flowers are made in a remote village across river Ganges in Bihar, where fisher women used to cut and stitch the fishing nets, and they had nimble fingers to cut and stitch these flowers. Their income levels went up by about 400 rupees a day when Suhas was establishing this was running this enterprise. Today, Subramani has moved on, and he is now into enzymes and water treatment and many other. And this was a story which actually the technology actually helps poor at the grassroots level, apart from bringing in products which are useful to the society. This is an example of a global problem or a global issue which is solved by the Indian mind, the Indian technology. Let me give you an example of a local problem being solved by a local entrepreneur. We have one large housing society here, Shipra Sun City in Noida. Shipra Sun City is one of the local housing complexes. There are 15,000 houses there and about 20,000 cars. 20,000 cars hain. About 6-7 years back, in this location, every month 5 to 10 cars will get stolen, and the society was getting a very bad name. The builder was finding it a problem, as the prices of the real estate were not going up in proportion to the other places nearby. So this young Sardarji Maan, B.S. Maan, incubatee in one of our incubators in Noida. He went to this the builder, and he said, I can fix this problem. I can fix this problem, and you will have to pay me 500 rupees per car per month. So that, of course, the owners of the car will pay because they want security of their car. 500 rupees per car per month, 20,000 cars, a straight business of 1 crore of rupees per month. First order startup company, you can imagine the joy which Maan had. He was almost, उसके पैर ज़मीन पे नहीं पड़ रहे थे. First order 1 crore rupees per month, he is jumping with joy. This joy was short lived, because when he went back to all these car owners, there were 6 resident welfare associations in that colony, and the people who had lost elections, they did not want this system to function. So, the system he had proposed is a very simple technology, RFID based technology, RFID tag on the car, on the keychain, and a reader at the gate. Unless 3 match, the door will not open. Simple solution. So, with the result, these people who had lost in the elections, they made sure only 3,000 cars could only get registered for this new system. There were 8 gates of that colony. So, with only 3,000 numbers, he could fit only 4 gates with the automated system, and the other 4 gates were on the manual as usual. But the system has to be effective only when all the 8 gates get fitted with the automated system. So, now Maan is virtually in tears. His business model has flopped. He can't do anything. So, they came back in the incubator, did a brainstorming session. What can be done? They said, let's employ deaf and dumb people as gatekeepers, deaf and dumb people as chowkidars at the gate. On all these 4 gates, he had now people who could not speak, who could not hear. So, the fellows who do not have the automated system will come to the gate and start shouting at they were shouting earlier also, they will start shouting, kholta kyun nahi hai, janta nahi main kaun hu, which is very common in this part of the world. Janta nahi main kaun hu, all that will start happening. So, then there was another fellow who will go and knock at the car window and say, isko bechare ko sunta nahi hai, bol nahi sakta hai, why are you shouting at him? So, this fellow is internally hurt, but overtly he says, कैसे कैसे लोगों को नौकरी पे रख लेते हैं, what kind of people do they employ? But then he now doesn't argue, goes to gate number 4, and this fellow in the meantime, this fellow is standing doing this. You go to gate number 4, he is only doing this. So, well, 31st of December 2009, this fellow Maan invited all his deaf and dumb people, their families, for a New Year Eve party. The media picked it up very well, the local media picked it up very well. They covered that how Maan is helping deaf and dumb, and all that story was covered. Next day, he took photocopies or copies of that newspaper. He distributed in all these 15,000 houses. By February 2010, Maan had 18,000 vehicles on his new system. 18,000 vehicles on the new. Now 8 gates of the colony are fitted with the automated system. Plus, today the residents don't pay 500 rupees per month per car. It is free of cost. How? Let me tell you. It's a very focused advertisement which is targeted at you alone. When in the morning you take out your car and go towards the gate, he knows now the demographic profile. Supposing I am a resident there in that colony, he knows what is my income level, what is my car registration, when my insurance is due, etc., etc. All that information is in the computer. So, the moment my car reaches the gate, there is a TV screen which says, Mr. Mittal, your car insurance expires in 15 days. Mr. Mittal, your car insurance expires in 15 days. So, I can pick up a pamphlet there, write the check and deposit it there itself. The insurance company now subsidizes MAN for this focused advertisement. In the evening, when I am going with my family, the moment I reach the car, there is a announcement there, holiday package for you, Mr. Mittal, depending upon my income level, whether it is Switzerland or Haridwar. In my case, they will say Haridwar. Mr. Mittal, a holiday package for you in Haridwar. So, I immediately get interested, I go and sign up. He was invited by the Cannes Film Festival, the biggest festival, film festival which we have, in the focused advertisement category. Focused advertisement category where you can target a particular human being. He did extremely well, moved on to other spaces. MAN became the biggest employer of deaf and dumb people in the world. Biggest employer of deaf and dumb people in the world through this initiative. Another example of how technology can even help differently abled people in their economic lives, day-to-day lives. I can go on with these kind of stories, but let me come to some of the specifics which you would encounter when you see. Innovation is one area which is less understood, less appreciated, because you are trying to disrupt certain existing technology, existing space. So, the acceptability takes time. Don't lose heart, don't lose, build your proposals in such a way that you factor in those delays, factor in those, there is no need to get disheartened. If you fail in one, you can always succeed in other. And in entrepreneurship, failure will happen. Please, there is nobody in this world who has succeeded continuously. In entrepreneurship, there are always those cycles where you have the ups, you have the downs. If you are able to absorb those downs, you can ride the upper crust little longer. But be prepared for those downfalls and those crusts which you get. Let's spend about 5-7 minutes on the last 5-7 minutes on the questions in case you have any, and right? Do you have any questions?
Sir, suppose somebody open its own institution, maybe educational institution or research institution.
Right.
Then that would come under the entrepreneurship category?
Yes. See, research labs, testing labs are part of the small scale industry. Educational institutions are not really industry in that sense. They are not categorized as industry, but there is a good potential of running training institutions, educational institutions. Yes, there is.
Sir, soil testing is a very good solution for the problems. Still, it is not coming up with the private partners.
Okay, let me give you an example. In the Sundarbans area near Calcutta, we have an institute by the name of Vivekananda Institute of Biotechnology, right? You are aware of that?
I am from West Bengal.
You are from West Bengal. So, in that institute, in that area, they have equipped people to do soil testing, and it is a proper entrepreneurial venture for these people. They do close to about 70 to 80 tests, if my memory serves me right, 70 to 80 tests every day, and some of those tests are done on the spot where the results are available. They have developed a kit also. You can talk to them, and it is being run as a proper industry. It is being run as a private sector run pure industry. There's a base lab which is there, which charges small amount to these people for the advanced test. There are some tests which are done locally there itself. I think moisture, NPK, etc. is done locally there. And for some advanced tests, they come back to this institute.
Are you providing guidance for this institution, how to build up the institutions, how to run the institution as an entrepreneur?
Yes, as I said, we have close to these 90 incubators, like the one you have here at the BPD unit, where they give you training, they give you coaching, mentorship, as to how to run and manage your business. That's what we do. Yes. Bagalkot. Bagalkot mein it is it's generally food processing, basically fruit processing, where they are making some of these. It's more it's low on innovation. Let me honestly admit that, but it is the Bagalkot Engineering College. There is the engineering college there, and Dr. Mahadevaiah was the in charge there.
Kind of agri-entrepreneurships. I have been associated with various agriculture universities, teaching and interacting for business opportunities. And I'm more specialized into seed business. I started my own seed company 3 years back, and being incubated here at BJP. My company name is Ananya Seeds Private. Yesterday I gave 4 hours lecture in IIM Lucknow, Noida campus. My one question and my one issue I want to raise here. I am very well connected with the right kind of people who are source of knowledge, experience and expertise. I am connected with all kind of people, professors, professionals and industries, entrepreneurs, big and small. Now I know that I have this resource pool with me, and now I want to utilize. And I know that my people, scientists and these people, they are connected to me. They have lot of spare time, and they can utilize for the progress of this country. I'm connected with one organization which has adopted 60,000 villages, and mostly they are tribal villages in the country. The group is Ekal Abhiyan. So my endeavor is how to train rural youth, pick up, train them in various kind of entrepreneurship. One thing, everyone can't be an entrepreneur, but how to enable to get the job. So make them more employable and entrepreneur path. So anyone if wants to become entrepreneur, they can become entrepreneur. We will promote them, we will train, teach them and enable us. So certainly some funds is also required to support them and initiate the work. How to do about it, and how one organization, if I want to set up, especially for this skilling and entrepreneurial development, will there be any support available in the this government machine?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me answer that very quickly. See, there are a lot of international organizations which are available. Yesterday, I was talking to one group which consolidates these small farm holdings. Like today, you have, because of the division, you have 2 acres, 3 acres with one individual. So they may, in one group, they have 1,000 people. They come in, and there are about 2,000 acres, 3,000 acres which gets available. They train each of these people, form a consortium, and then they get into very, very specialized products. Yesterday, they were talking about a brand of coffee, which is the most premium coffee. It is like the gold standard in coffee. They cultivate that together, have a common marketing brand, a pool. They have already set up about 30 of such 30 such units, covering about, on an average, about 2,500 acres. So, and they have got a support from a Netherlands-based agency, which is an international agency funding these people. They have got that support. There are other programs even in the Ministry of Agriculture, in the Ministry of MSME, where such support is available for training these kind of people. Right? I'll have to close this here. I'm sorry. You can you can note down my email ID in case if you have questions. It's very simple. HK Mittal, HKMITTAL, one word, @gmail.com.